Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag Resynced. Well, that's a mouthful, isn't it? The game that feels like just keeps getting away from us. But doesn't it? Like, literally, I swear, like, when this first got, like, announced, or should I say when the whispers started happening of a Black Flag remake, not only were we a bit, like, surprised, or eyebrows were raising, which was, like, what, 18 months ago? 2 years ago? It always felt like every time we got closer for it maybe finally being revealed or announced, it just kept getting pushed away. But that all changed over the last few days, where finally we've gotten some information and some tidbits, which seems to be or pointing towards an announcement for next week and a possible release in July. But as I said, it came with a few extra little bits of information, which kind of gives us a bit more details of what we should be expecting in this remake. Because is it a remake? Is it a remaster? Yeah, it's a remake, by the way, which is a good thing. If they were going to do it, you might as well just do a full-on remake, which that's what it seems to be. But, and there's always a but when it comes to Assassin's Creed these days, unfortunately, because look, I say unfortunately because I'm an OG Assassin's Creed fan. I'm a massive Assassin's Creed fan. I'm like all of yous, right? I've been there since day one. But I'm also like all of yous where I've had a lot of opinions or concerns just to myself. It's not like I really speak to a lot of people about it because I've never actually talked about Assassin's Creed to anyone, to be honest, especially when it comes to content creation, where the RPG sort of direction it's gone in over the last 10 years and like the last 5 or 6 games that's come out, apart from Origins, because Origins is tied with Black Flag to me as the best Assassin's Creed game, but that's a story, you know, for another time. Well, actually, maybe not. I'll probably bring it up in a minute, but you know what I'm saying? Where there are some aspects that they've done really well, but I just feel like a lot of the quality in storytelling, in characters, in writing, and even in just a depiction of like the cutscenes and just the visual presentation in the story, by the way, I'm not talking about the actual world because they always nail the world, has just dropped, and it's been a big concern. So when I'm reading through all these sort of like tidbits and features that seems to be obviously coming to the Black Flag remake, right, which I will go over in a second, I was like, wow, yeah, this sounds great. But there's one thing on here that still kind of adds to my concern that I had 2 years ago when this first got announced. And it's a common thing. It's something that's been talked about in the fandom for a very long time. But I'll touch on that after, right? So, what it seems to be happening with this Black Flag Resynced remake, is that, yeah, it's current gen only. It's a full remake, not just a remaster, so that's a good thing. Apparently, we can now have a pet on our ship, a cat or a monkey. I don't know what it's going to be doing. I don't know what Edward's going to think about it. Like, I don't know if it's going to be something that we can take with us, maybe when we're exploring islands. I really hope not. Like, I really hope there's certain things they just kind of leave and make it a bit more normal. Don't just go a bit over the top, you know what I'm saying? Because that's something where this could fall into the trap of. Like, they just go way too over the top. But that sounds cool. Having a pet on the ship is a good idea. It kind of gives me Pirates of the Caribbean vibes, you know what I'm saying? With, like, Jack. Apparently, we're going to get improved underwater exploration. This is a great addition or expansion or whatever you want to call it feature, because all of us who have played the original Black Flag, they're kind of limited to certain story segments and a few little side quest type segments, and they're very linear. They can be maybe quite annoying every now and then. So I'm assuming, because obviously we're always traversing across the whole Caribbean islands, right? Or the ocean. I bet anywhere where we can stop, we can just dive underneath. So it'll be like the recent RPG games, like Odyssey, Origins, Valhalla, and all that, where you can just dive underneath and like you can just swim anywhere underneath. So that'd be really cool. So hopefully they do put some like unique treasures or, you know, Easter eggs, or maybe an octopus, or maybe they'll put the Kraken in there. Oh, that'd be quite cool, wouldn't it? But talking about the next point on here, tons of new content and story additions, including new officers, crewmates, quests, chapters like Maroon and Kenway's backstory. And when I first read this, I was like, Maroon and Kenway's backstory? Who the hell's Maroon? That's what I was thinking. But then I kind of came to the sort of realisation, oh, it's probably talking about when we get marooned with Charles Vane in that chapter, because that's quite a quick chapter. Like, we're marooned for one mission and then we get saved, so maybe they expand on that, and if they do, that'd be really good. I love Charles Vane as a character. He completely loses his mind, but he was great, right? And his voice, I mean, you will recognise that voice if you haven't played Final Fantasy 16, well, you know, and if you haven't watched a Fantastic Four film with Galactus, well, you know, you should recognise who that is. But this is the thing, lots or tons of new content and story additions. Now, this actually is a good thing, because I get people think, oh, don't touch the story, and I'm like that. As long as the original main story is still there, I've got nothing wrong with them expanding and fleshing it. Just do not change a lot of the scenes, because Black Flag probably has the best story, the best supporting cast overall in Assassin's Creed, some of the best writing, and probably the best overall acting. Like, from everyone. It is top tier, so hopefully they bring all the OG voice actors for Black Flag back if they do have new scenes, which I'm assuming they do, because for people who know about some of the cut content that was actually quite well far in development that was going to be in Black Flag, Kenway's backstory is one of them, and I'm pretty sure they were going to expand more on Anne Bonny and Mary Reed's adventures when they were off on the seas, when I think Edward was in prison or something. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I'm pretty sure that's what one of the things was. So maybe we get that. But when it comes to like new officers and crewmates, I'm like, oh. Okay, so is it going to be brand new characters, and are there going to be some other pirate names who were like there during, like, you know, in real history, who we're going to run into? That would be cool. But when it comes to like new officers and all that, I'm just wondering how this is going to go, because I'm assuming it needs to just be random side or random world events or side quests. But this kind of plays into, like I said, my only main sort of issue I have. But like I said, I'll get to that in a sec. But apart from that, though, Kenway's backstory, yeah, that's really good. We only got a few glimpses every now and then, and yet again, that was supposed to be something that was maybe supposed to be playable. I think them segments where it got fleshed out more, but they had to cut it, so that makes sense. And yeah, a lot of quests and chapters. I actually think Black Flag would have benefited if it actually had more side quests, but I don't want them to the same sort of amount as we get in these RPG games. Don't give me like 100 million of them. I don't need that. Just give me some character companion side quests, like personal missions. I think that was something that was missing, because one thing about Assassin's Creed 3, the game before, it had some of the best side content ever. The homestead missions, but not only that though, they felt quite high in quality. They were all like motion captured, and they all felt very connected. Black Flag realistically only had the Templar hunts, which were kind of something akin to like the main story, right? Apart from that, we didn't really have any other sort of story type, cutscene dialogue, character driven quests. A lot of it was just going around getting them Mayan stones, you know, opening the chests, going underwater, hunting for sharks, which is all cool, by the way, but I kind of want a bit more. So maybe this is what they're going to do, and if they do, and they sort of like, you know, don't go too far and crazy with it, then that should be great. But I really would love character companions, because you know that private island that we get, I can't remember what it's called, the Great Inagua. I can't even remember what, if it's even called that, to be honest. That was so wasted. Compare that to the homestead. It's night and day. You literally don't do anything there. You upgrade a few things and that's it. Like I said, you can't talk to anyone. There's no quests there. There's nothing. It felt like that was always something that was just like missing a lot, missing potential. So hopefully they really fill that up. You know what I'm saying? That's even if we get it. Like I said, I don't know if they're going to be reworking the story. Hopefully not too much, but I don't know though. But no, this all sounds good, right? Yeah. Cool story additions, a few extra quests here and there, expanding on some stuff. Great. But this next one, it's the last one on here basically, is my main concern. Built on the latest Assassin's Creed engine. Oh no. Now, before anyone says, what do you mean? It looks great. The world, when you look at Shadows, so it's talking about the engine that Shadows is on. The world of Shadows is absolutely stunning. The world, or shall I say the weather, is absolutely beautiful, which will benefit Black Flag so much, especially when you get them sort of like stormy, sort of rainy whirlwinds or whirlpools. It's going to look so good, right? Especially if it's going to have proper dynamic weather, right? That's going to be great. That will fit Black Flag to perfection, right? But, and here we come into my main concern. With all that comes how they also do or structure a lot of their story scenes, right? Now, anyone who's played Black Flag will know Black Flag in its main story is all motion captured, apart from a few segments when you're walking and talking, right? But that's fine. But basically everything of the main story is motion captured. Now, I know this has been a concern with quite a lot of people, right? Wondering, oh, is it going to lose its motion capture if not? I don't see how they would... I don't see why on planet Earth they would even decide to rework all the cutscenes, right? and not make a motion capture, because if they do that, it's gonna be so jarring, because this is the issue that they've had with the last 4 or 5 games. They just cannot capture it to the same sort of likes of how The Witcher 3 does its sort of in-game dialogue option sort of cutscenes, or how Horizon Forbidden West does it, or even Dragon Age and Mass Effect. Even they just look better. With Assassin's Creed, it always looks clunky. It always looks weird. It's like it doesn't belong there, right? And yet you don't feel immersed, and the story drops a lot in quality because their writing has also dropped as well, just based on this new foundation of how they create games. And I really hope this is not something, especially because it's on this engine, that just allows them, when they add these new quests, by the way, or these new officers and all this sort of stuff, and maybe rework part of the story, that they're just not going to be motion captured. They're going to do that weird camera angle in-game sort of like static sort of, you know what I'm saying, like, I don't even know what you call it, that weird clunky facial animation sort of like speech or whatever you want to call it. And I do get a feeling that it's going to be like that in parts. I really do. I just don't want them to completely get rid of all the motion capture of all the existing story, because you can't. Like I said, Black Flag has some of the most immersive and emotional scenes, like where you really connect. They stand out, they're top tier. Yes, put them on a better engine, but make sure it's still motion captured, right? Do not relegate a lot of these scenes to that silly in-game sort of dialogue stuff they did in Shadows, which looks awful, like they did in Odyssey, like they did in Valhalla, like they did in Mirage, right? Just don't, because it really is just going to butcher it for me. Like it just takes you out of the experience, right? But they might not. This is just a fear of mine. Hopefully majority of it is all motion capture. I don't need every single aspect of the game, because not every single aspect of the original Black Flag is, but the whole entire main story is. So if they are going to do it, yes, probably just leave it for some of the side quests, but even then I'd actually kind of prefer some of them to be a bit more high in quality, but don't do it to the main story, especially to the new additions. Make sure it flows well with the rest of the motion captured content that you already have, and I'm hoping they're just copying over. Because if they start changing stuff and cutting stuff out and reworking it completely, then again, I don't think anyone's going to like that. But that's basically my main concern. I think that's a lot of people's concern, just the way Assassin's Creed has been heading in that sort of direction. It's like when you look at Shadows, right? The first hour of the game, all motion captured. The last hour of the game, basically all motion captured. They're the best parts of the game. And they are. Because the story for the next 60 hours just drops. And it just falls in this sort of routine, easy carbon copy and paste sort of like quality. And that's what it is. And you see that in Mirage. You see that in Valhalla. Even though I actually think Valhalla overall has a far superior story than them other 2 games combined. And it's something that also plagues Odyssey. But with Origins, right, which did still have RPG elements, all of the story is basically motion captured. I don't know why they just didn't do it like Origins for all the rest of the games. We would be fine. We would be having this conversation, but that's just the way they've gone with it, right? So yeah, that's the sort of information we've gotten so far. It sounds really good. Like, it actually does. Full remake, underwater exploration, a monkey, tons of new content, story additions, probably going to add some of that cut content as well, and also add more stuff, probably more side sort of quests or activities to do. You know, the weather system's going to be great. The whole world itself will look great. No doubt the ship, the Jackdaw, is going to look better than ever in terms of like just traversing it and controlling it. But it just comes down to, are they going to really just get rid of a lot of the sort of quality of the motion capture, and they're just going to downgrade it to that silly in-game sort of cutscenes that they do? I just really hope not, but you know what? I can't judge, which I haven't seen yet, so I guess we'll all have to wait and see when it gets announced, or when the game does fully come out, because the trailer could just focus on all the cutscenes, the motion capture, which that's what they did for Shadows, so you know what I'm saying? But yeah, what do you think, right? Because I know there's a lot of these are all massive Assassin's Creed fans like me, right? Are you excited? Are you a bit iffy, on the fence like I am, in terms of this one particular thing, because everything else sounds great? Do you even want a Black Flag remake? You know what it is with that, right? I feel like if this was 5 years later from now, it would make perfect sense, but also this is going to sound a bit hypocritical or contradictory. I feel like Black Flag is the perfect game to remake as well, just due to the aesthetics, just due to the settings, just due to the whole traversal of all the different islands, the Caribbean seas, the Jackdaw. I just feel like it's perfect if you're going to remake it and put on the best sort of possible graphics that you can. But who knows, right? But yeah, please let me know, and when it does officially get its trailer and all that, I guess I'll be speaking about it and giving my opinions, because I swear, if I see that in-game cutscene anywhere, I won't be happy.